You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
And now, a word from our sponsor, SpyCloud, the cybercrime analytics leader. SpyCloud disrupts cybercrime by telling you what criminals know about your business and your customers, so you can take action to prevent ransomware, session hijacking, account takeover, and online fraud. SpyCloud constantly recaptures and analyzes new data from the criminal underground, including credentials, session cookies, and PII siphoned from malware-infected devices. With knowledge of the specific exposed data criminals have in hand from InfoStealer malware on managed and unmanaged devices, security teams can respond with a more efficient and effective process called post-infection remediation that fits seamlessly into existing incident response frameworks. Get SpyCloud's post-infection remediation guide outlining the 7 steps for preventing a malware infection from becoming a full-blown ransomware incident. Visit spycloud.com/cyberwire. That's spycloud.com/cyberwire. And we thank SpyCloud for sponsoring our show.
Hello, my name is Mike Scott, and I'm a Chief Information Security Officer at Immuta. My first introduction was really in the Navy right after high school, looking at different things from satellite imagery, working with Solaris, like Sparks and things like that. Really got my first introduction into working with PCs on a regular basis, but also the concepts of data protection and security as well. Growing up in a small town, really not sure what I wanted to do when I grew up. The Navy seemed like a good place to start, and really was a fantastic few years for me to, if nothing more, motivate me to get into the career I am now. So after that, I got my first technology job right out of the Navy, working for an internet service provider. That really gave me an opportunity to expand upon networking, network concepts, early days of internet service, when AOL was still sending out disks. And then that company, about a year and a half later, went bankrupt as AOL and some of the other providers exploded. That's where I moved on to a small startup in Atlanta called Witness Systems. At the time, I think I was employee 25. And spent about 11 years with that company. When I left, we were about 1,300 employees. After that, I spent a little time at Arby's, the restaurant company, right before an acquisition of Wendy's. I spent a good part of 8 years there leading the security function for first Arby's, then Wendy's Arby's Group, and then finally Wendy's International. And then from there, I left and spent a little time consulting at NCR, then moved on and spent a couple of years at Optiv in the office of the CISO, where my primary role was supporting as a non-billable resource. And then after there, I left and spent a little time at Spirion, a startup in St. Petersburg, Florida, and then landed here at Immuta for the last year and a half. When they brought me on board, of course, the first thing they wanted to do was achieve PCI compliance. But moreover, what we started really looking at was the security of, obviously, restaurants and PCI and card data, high risk items, and looking how we could not only improve the security of the organization, but also increase the operational uptime. I built that program from the ground up and focused on operational stability as much as security, and picking the right architecture and simplifying a lot of things. And at the end of the day, what we found was we had a very repeatable PCI program, but also the security of the restaurants was increased greatly. Busy is an understatement. I'd say probably a little bit of chaos right now, really with our incredible growth and some of the customers that we're pulling on board at Immuta, some top, probably Fortune 50 companies. We launched our SaaS platform last year, so cloud security has been a big focus. But there's never a stop in demands from the business and our customers, especially with the evolving privacy landscape. So right now we're spending a lot of time building out our privacy program, focusing on new certifications, ISO 27001 and 701, to really address the demands of our customers and give them that trust in the platform. So a lot of time in cloud right now and some time in application security. Those are probably the two things that are keeping us the most busy right now. I consider myself a team member more than anything. I definitely say my employees and former employees would say my style is very casual, but for me, I like to think of myself as a contributor on the team. My job is to obviously lead and create strategy and evolve the team, but I like to get my hands on, I like to support the team. At the end of the day, we're all there for one mission. So I see myself, on the same level, and I think that humble style is not only mine, but one of the things that drew me to Immuta. It really is just a collection of a lot of, we call humble intellects, but I think that's what drew me in there, was just really being able to focus on outcomes and not titles and responsibilities and who you are, how long you've been in the industry. Adversity is obviously, I'd say, almost a cornerstone of being in the security community. We're always creating work for other teams, creating complexity that is necessary in a lot of times. But, really first being able to understand what you're trying to accomplish, making sure the folks you're working with understand what you're trying to accomplish. And if you move the needle forward just a little bit, I think you have to really recognize that accomplishment. Sometimes in security and privacy, we may spend, months or even years trying to accomplish certain things. And that can be very demotivating to a lot of folks, And so I think keeping front of mind what you are doing, what you are accomplishing, the things that you have done are so important. But also, learning from others, which I love what you guys are doing here, is learning from others, sometimes just how to pitch an idea. At the end of the day, I can look back and see some of my biggest accomplishments may have taken years to accomplish at certain organizations, but they were still wonderful accomplishments. So I think adversity is part of it, but I think keeping focused and quite frankly, keeping good, whether it's metrics or just, quarterly updates on what your program is doing and what you're accomplishing, helping that, not losing the energy to keep that fight up. It's a fantastic career to move into. Really understanding the business is incredibly important. I've met a lot of technologists in my career and a lot of fantastic engineers. And what differentiates folks career-wise and how they progress to me is understanding that the business needs to accomplish certain outcomes, and our job is to support those and not be the department of no. We have to help the business understand the risks they're taking, help them come up with a way for it to be a yes, most importantly, and be curious. So I think that curiosity and understanding what you're doing and how it impacts the business are super critical to anyone. Ultimately, I hope to be remembered as an enabler to the business and a fantastic mentor. I hope when that time comes, whether it's to move on to another opportunity or maybe win the lottery and retire, I also hope that someone from my team has taken the reins. So I think that is really the most important part for me, is people see that my contribution was more to the people than the program.
This episode is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks, the leader in cybersecurity. As AI-driven attacks increase, organizations can't afford to have network security that's stuck in the past. Discover how Palo Alto Networks can help you predict what's coming and proactively secure against it with a zero-trust, AI-powered network security platform built to secure whatever, whenever, wherever. To learn more, visit paloaltonetworks.com/network security platform.